Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Any of you that are following gold, the sector has been literally on fire. The yellow metal today passed through US $1,800 an ounce and looks like it's heading higher. So certainly one of the strongest sectors in the market. And one of the areas of exploration and drilling that you may or may not be familiar with is the incredibly beautiful state of Alaska. Alaska not only is unbelievably picturesque for those of you that have not been up there, but it's also the home of some of the world's greatest natural resources, and especially gold. And to talk a little bit more about that, we have Duncan Chessell today. Duncan is the Managing Director of Resolution Minerals. Duncan, welcome to 18 Minutes with 180 Markets.
Thanks very much, Craig. Looking forward to the next 18 minutes. It should be good.
Absolutely. Hey, Duncan, I always want to start out with someone's background. How did they get from being, when they were 10 years old to where they are today? Can you just describe to us a little bit about your journey?
Well, I guess my journey's not been a straight line. Like many people in life, I did a lot of, wanted to be an explorer when I was young and did a lot of adventuring. So traveled around the world to the far-flung, all the 7 continents and that sort of thing. I did a bit of work before university as a field assistant to a geologist in Australia, and I thought, oh, this looks like an interesting game just to go out and hunt for mineral resources around Australia, and so I went to uni, did a geology degree, got into petroleum, oil and gas for a little while. Did that for a few years, then during that whole period I was sort of very passionate about the outdoors. Spent around about 10 years running a exploration an expedition company, taking people to the 7 summits, so guiding the highest peak on each of the 7 continents. 5 expeditions to Antarctica, climbing did the first ever Cedar summit on Mount Vincent down there. Rode my bike from the Indian Ocean up and to Everest Base Camp, and then climbed to the summit of Mount Everest a few times. So pretty bit of that sort of thing, and then went back into hard rock geology after expedition guiding, and then just started the search for gold and base metals in Australia and Papua New Guinea, and had been really enjoyed that just exploration, the hunt for the next the next discovery, and that's a real I love that sort of work, and that's what the geology side of things is a fantastic part of my fairly strong background in logistics and planning, running businesses, bringing teams of people together, and trying to get to an ultimate to a goal, which is that mineral discovery, that resource you're trying to define. So that's been, sort of various projects around Australia, listed, put a couple of project generation, early stage stuff, put them into listed companies, IPO'd, Northern Cobalt, which is the previous name of Resolution Minerals. And then I took over as managing director about 10 months ago, and we took a turn in direction into gold and went to Alaska with a fantastic opportunity there.
Yeah, and it's obviously quite a pivot. Can you just tell us, how did you get into Alaska, and what was the genesis of the project for you?
Yeah, so I guess at the time, Northern Cobalt was the cobalt price had come off significantly. The company had sort of put its shoulder into that to find a cobalt deposit that was needed to be sort of put on the back burner, and we were looking around for a new project in North America at the time. Millrock Resources, who were the vendor of the project, they couldn't raise any money on the TSX. The TSX was very much involved in investing into cryptocurrency and cannabis, so they couldn't raise any money. They were a project generator looking for a partner, and then a guy, Ryan Armstrong, out of Taylor Collison in Sydney, had been following the Northern Star story and followed their move into Alaska. And when they purchased the Pogo gold mine in 2018 from Sumitomo, he sort of said, "Oh, okay, what's going on there, and what's all this ground around that? Who's got that and why?" And then had been sort of monitoring it, and then gave Mill Rock a cold call actually, and then introduced me to them. We were looking for a project, and gold was starting to pick up in Australia. So it was one of those fantastic kind of confluences of opportunity, timing. I mean, now there's so much support for gold. There's a gold rush in the Tintina Gold Province in Alaska. It stretches 2,000 kilometers east to west. There's huge, just giant-sized gold deposits there. Donlin Creek, 39 million ounces. Live and Good, Fort Knox, 12 and 11 million ounces of gold. Then you go into the Yukon, into Canada, and the mineralization doesn't stop. Casino at over 12 million, Coffee 10, 2 points. Donlin, Brewery Creek, etc., etc. It just goes on. It's an amazingly well endowed area, and so we're going. Wow, this is just you don't get a chance as a junior explorer to have the ground right next door, a long strike from a 10 million ounce high grade world class operating gold mine, and Northern Star had 3 drill rigs right on the boundary of this property, and then there's this Mill Rock Resources couldn't raise any money in Alaska, were tapped out. That wasn't their business model, and we're like going, well, we've got to drill some holes along here, and so that's really been the story, is to get the project into the shape that we could move forward on it, negotiate, get the deal in, get a road in place, and then we started some drilling in late winter this year. Unfortunately, it was cut short by the COVID pandemic, and then and so we sort of got back in the field just recently, about 7 weeks ago, and we've been drilling on our high priority targets at the Aurora prospect. So it's been a amazing pivot, if you like, from Northern Territory cobalt deposit to let's take it. I mean, I've been to Alaska a few times on with my adventuring things, and climbed the highest peak in Alaska and all that sort of stuff previously. It's a beautiful place, but just very well endowed with mineral wealth. Number 4 in the Fraser Institute of the best places to do mineral exploration and mining activities. Very safe, so no sovereign risk. There's only probably 6 or 7% of the country is covered by modern geophysics, so it's pretty unexplored.
Right.
It partly because of the seasons, and it's you only get a 4 month window for summer seasons. Fortunately, where we are, there's a road, so we're able to sort of use the shoulder seasons, spring and autumn. We can get out and about from that. And then winters, you've got to be keen to drill all the way through winter. You can do it, but it can be down to -40, and it just takes a bit longer and a bit more expensive to do that. So you might back it off for January, February, sort of give people a bit of a rest. So a big pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's also, I like the way that you explained about the entire region. Like, this is not some area that has not had some serious success in the past. As you said, it's number 4 in the Fraser Institute. And also, I suppose the other question is, given that you've traveled all over the world, do you view the fact that there's a lack of sovereign risk there as a huge benefit from your perspective?
Yeah, as in it, you just broke up a little bit. Your question was, if quite prospective is compared to other places. Is that what you said?
No, it's more the regulatory framework of, at least you're operating with a rule of law and so forth and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So, if you can go to the DRC or Tanzania and have really high sovereign risk, where you've seen some examples of companies having their project basically stripped from them by the government. Right. Whereas, Alaska is very pro-mining. The governor there, his whole family works in the mining industry. It's a great place to operate from a regulatory environment, rule of law, etc. It's number 4 in the Fraser Institute. You can't get much higher than, I think Western Australia is, a couple of states in Australia slightly higher. That's it. So
right. And then also just with your 64 North project, Some viewers would be familiar with the Pogo project. Can you just describe a little bit more about where it is and what is the potential there?
Yeah, so the Pogo mine, owned originally by Sumitomo, in production. It was discovered in the mid-90s, so fairly recent discovery. Not a lot of, almost no exploration in that area beforehand. But surrounding it, you've got this. The way it works is you've got these granite intrusives, and just sort of proximal to those, you can have gold mineralization. And on the southern side, closer to the road, that's where there's been some exploration. You go to the other side of it, and there's no exploration at all. Like, it's actually unexplored, and there's not even any. There's like 12 stream sediment samples for an area that's 50 kilometers by 10 kilometers wide, and it's potentially the whole thing mirrors. Plus the extents east and west of the Pogo gold mine itself, we're seeing look-alike geophysical anomalies that we think are potential to be a Pogo 2 and a Pogo 3 and a Pogo 4. So that's what we're doing. We're drill testing to see if we've got a repeat, potentially 10 million ounce high-grade gold resource. So we're shooting for some pretty big fish in this neck of the woods. Yeah.
I think 10 million ounces, given your market cap of circa $30 million, that would be a massive difference for sure. You just have to get a little bit right to make it work.
Yeah, there's a few things we've got a little bit of work in between now and then. But I think it's a great opportunity to be in an area where we've got the potential to discover multiple giant-sized gold deposits in the 64 North project. I mean, that's you don't. This is a great project and a great company, an opportunity to put to investors where highly speculative, but leveraged to success, and the gold price is going the right direction, and demonstrated mineralization, profitable high grade, within 400 meters of our claims is their one of their resources. So, yeah, pretty exciting.
Right, and I actually, even from a timing point of view, we're really obviously number one, Northern Hemisphere summertime, but number two, I mean, it's enough. You're drilling currently, is that right?
Yep. So we're drilling at the moment, and going to continue drilling through the summer, and then we have options to drill through into autumn and through winter if we choose, depending on results and what happens over the next few months.
Right. So we should see some news about these drillings. Would you say in the next 6 to 12 weeks from now, something in that nature?
Yeah. No, we'll be releasing assay results as we when we get every couple of holes, we'll batch it together and then release that to the market. And then we've got some other so obviously some diamond drilling programs are going on at the moment. Another one about to kick off on the Echo prospect, and then we'll be down to the E1 prospect as well, doing trenching, costining, and probably a little bit of RC work on that later in the year. So yeah, there should be good news flow right through to Christmas time, and then we'll see what's happening at that time.
Right, but even more than just not only in the very, very short term here, which is obviously important, but as we see it, that your business has a potential multi-project within a project within 64 North. That's how we see it. Can you just discuss it in your terms maybe a little bit?
Yeah, so I guess we've got four prospects that we're seeing as being drill ready, or we will have drill ready within the next matter of weeks. Any one of which could be another Pogo. So, there's one of them there's 3 prospects which are potentially Pogo-like style, and there's one which looks like a Fort Knox, an intrusion hosted rather than a Pogo style mineralization. It's more of a geological term, but we've got 4 drill targets, prospects on the page at the moment, that any one of which could be a repeat of Pogo. So, great pipeline to have. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And, and then also, obviously, we always need the funds to drill out. Can you just discuss with us a little bit, the balance sheet and how we stand at this point in time?
Yeah, well, obviously we just completed a 3.6 mil placement with a 1 million SPP that'll be going out to investors in the next couple of days, then to participate. Well, let's make, assuming that gets filled to the capacity to 1 million. That's another 4.6 million Australian dollars, which will enable us to continue the drilling all the way through to the end of the year, and we'll assess as we go with results on that. But the project it's a $5 million US per year earning over 4 years, so we've committed to spending some significant funds on that. But I guess the upside is there. The costs to work in Alaska are high, so we knew that we wanted to get in there and get aggressive and drill test the targets, and we knew it was going to cost us some real money. So we weren't too shy about saying, well, we're okay to spend that sort of money, because if we get success on the way through, then it will allow us to continue that, and to drill out a large multi-million ounce resource will cost significant money, and everyone's aware of that. But we'll be able to, in the first 2 years, we should be able to test all of those 4 quite effectively, and potentially more, and follow up with more drilling.
Right, absolutely. I mean, as you said, it's really, or maybe these are my words or your words too. It's almost like a multi-project within a project, if you will. And a lot of upside. I guess in conclusion, the way that we see it is, it's the right region, the right macro conditions, multiple chances to win, as far as it's not just a one-trick pony, if you will. And as you said, you've already got, look-alike comparisons.
Yep.
You're talking about hundreds of meters away, which is just incredible to think when you consider it, that people think that 20 or 30 kilometers is next door, so to speak.
Yeah, no, this is just, I remember last year I went up there to have a look at the project, and was, went out there, I'm walking along the claim boundary, the boundary fence of the tenement, and I'm looking at, drilling rigs right there with this operating mine right there in the background. And I'm just like going, you can see it here, this picture here, and they've got on the screen. We're walking along the boundary there. There's drilling rigs right on the claim boundary, and there's this operating gold mine in the background. I'm going, why hasn't anyone drilled holes along here? This is just insane. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We're drilling some holes along that line, effectively. So.
Excellent. Well, Duncan, I won't take up any more of your time, but we're really, it's an exciting time now and over the next, several years, but really even in the immediacy.
Yeah.
As you said, it's not often you get these types of opportunities. Duncan, thank you very much for your time, and please keep us posted.
Okay. Thanks, Greg. Cheers.
Bye.